Over the last month or so, with the help of all of our awesome Patreon members, we have been deciding on, designing and procuring parts for our first custom modular that's going to be going in the new Lego City, the Block Party HQ. It has taken me a lot of fiddling around on Bricklink Studio, basically to learn how to use the software. I've taken a design that I found on Rebrickable and absolutely butchered it. This is the design that I found. I'll link to the original Rebrickable instructions down in the description below. I did buy this design. I then painstakingly went through the process on Bricklink Studio of digitally building that design and then completely ripping it up and basically rebuilding it with new parts, new colors, changes to how the interior, exterior, all that kind of stuff looks to just basically make it our own. Theoretically, if all goes to plan, this is what the finished modular should look like. It's cost me just shy of £300 in parts that I've picked up off of Bricklink. That includes the cost of putting together a Mills plate on an official Lego base plate. A lot of the Lego is used Lego and some of it is in better condition than others. I mean, I don't know if you can see just how scratched up some of these parts are. There's some discoloration to some of them, particularly some of the little clear bricks are a little discoloured in places as well, which is obviously not ideal, but I think we can at least make a version 1 of our Block Party HQ modular that we've been planning for so very long. I know people are going to ask if I can provide instructions and parts lists and things for you to make it. I need to speak to the designer of the original Rebrickable design, which I haven't done yet, because what I don't want to do is rip off their design and then distribute basically an edited version of their modular that they've designed for free, because that's not ideal, is it? They've designed that to be able to sell it, and I don't know is the honest answer whether I'm going to be able to release the designs. It's a work in progress. By all means, let me know down in the comments if you want a copy of the designs, if you feel like you'd like to make your own version of this. But yeah, I have all my parts. This was 6 separate Bricklink orders. Some of them have come from as far afield as Australia and Thailand. It's taken a long time to source all the parts, get them all here. But now we're going to get it built, fingers crossed. And this is where we really test if I manage to get it done right in Bricklink Studio, because if I manage to put this together right first time and it be structurally sound, I'll be flabbergasted. Let's see what we can come up with. And the first thing you'll probably notice as I start putting this together is the absolutely insane order that some of the instructions are telling me to do. I went onto Bricklink Studio and just did the automatic instructions. I spent all those hours designing it in the 3D designer in there, but then didn't spend any time at all on the actual instructions, and it shows. Note for next time, I need to spend some actual time putting together logical instructions and making sure that we actually put the building together in a logical order. I mean, you can see we've got a door frame in there with no door that's just in the way, and we've got little bits of wall in before we've got floor tile in, but on the whole, it does start to come together. We've got all of that base plate covered now. We're starting to get some of those glass walls for the downstairs in. We're getting a little bit of basic structure in, some flooring in. It's starting to look like the opening stages of a modular, which is very exciting. Well, I'm an hour in. I know that because I set that time lapse for exactly an hour, and this is how far we've got. So there have been some weird orders of doing things. Has something just fallen off that? Yes. That's never a good sign. I don't know where that's fallen from, because that gap is supposed to be there looking at the design. Yeah, we're doing this in some very strange orders. I just used the automatic instruction maker on Bricklink Studio. I think if I was ever to do proper rebrickable instructions that I'd want to distribute to people, I'd need to take some time and do the instructions properly. But we do have our base in, our flooring in. It's a little bit uneven in places and there's a little bit of discoloration on the floor, but I actually don't mind that. It's a floor. It's not going to be completely perfect, but you can see we've got our little layout of our downstairs. This is going to be our little Lego storage area with a Lego sign above it eventually. This is going to be the big meeting area of Block Party HQ. We've got our toilet, and then the stairs will go up here to take us to the next floor, and there'll be somewhere to display a little minifigure in the window as well, and then windows all the way around. So according to the number of steps, we've just done step 70 of 145 for the ground floor. So I guess I'm about halfway through the ground floor. So theoretically, one more hour and we have a ground floor in place. That would be nice. It would be very nice indeed, because I don't know if you can catch my watch at any points during this video, but I had the ridiculous idea to start doing this quite late at night. I am very much an early bird, so doing this late into the night probably slowed me down a little bit on this step. You can see I've got bricks and plates and stuff just kind of spread out across the table in front of me now, because those containers that I've got were just not big enough for the task. I think it was just shy of 2,000 pieces for this build, and a lot of that is brick, plate and tile, as you can imagine. And yeah, these little takeaway tubs that I'm using just not fit for purpose. But you can see we are slowly but surely taking shape. We're getting some walls in, we're getting some glass in, or some glass plastic, some plastic glass into those windows. So we're going to have that nice open, very light exposed area down the bottom, which I'm very much looking forward to. We've also got our little fancy design on the front that you'll see when we next have a little look at it. That was very fiddly to do. And we're now I'm trying to assemble some of the interior of the toilet after having put the walls in, which again, big shout out to the instructions being absolute nonsense. And that's my first time having to root through a box of Lego because somehow I've managed to order the parts wrong. I don't know how I've managed to do it, but that was my first time searching for a part that I just didn't have. Spoilers, that's going to be the first of many times. Well, that took a little bit longer than anticipated. About 2.5 hours, so long the battery on the camera died, and it's already died as I've tried to record this clip as well. So fingers crossed it holds on long enough. But this is where we've got to. We have our ground floor done. It is just a shell. It's intended to be just a shell. Like I mentioned at the start of the video, this is very much a collaboration with the people over on Patreon. So once we've built the building and we can all see what it actually looks like rather than just visualizing it on Bricklink Studio, and we'll then decide what to fill it with. But what we have got is a little room at the front which is going to have a Lego store sign out the front. So it could be a little mini Lego store, maybe some little Lego storage. We've got a downstairs toilet, staircase leading upstairs, and then this area is likely to be the public meeting area for Block Party HQ, and then we'll have some more specific rooms upstairs. But yeah, I mean, 2.5 hours or so to build the ground floor. A lot of that was rummaging for pieces, which will be less of a thing the further into it I get, because the fewer pieces there are, the quicker it'll be to find the ones I've got. I have had to botch together a couple of the areas and use some pieces that presumably were meant for elsewhere on the build. So there is a chance I won't have all the pieces here to be able to complete the build fully, but there'll probably be some at the city that I can go and grab and add to the pile if need be. But yeah, my Bricklink Studio skills definitely leaving a little to be desired. I would say I've probably made about 10 or 15 modifications as I've gone, but it is pretty sturdy now. It is all holding together nicely, and looks pretty cool. Can't wait to get started on the next 2 floors now, but it's 11 o'clock at night, so I'm going to go to bed and crack on with that again tomorrow, I guess. And it is now the next day. I have my Diet Coke at the ready. That shouldn't be in shot. How terribly unprofessional. And I guess now we crack on with the second floor. I am on a little bit of a time crunch today because as I'm starting this, it's 1:15 in the afternoon. Me and Anna are streaming in this room at 7 o'clock tonight. So within 5 and a bit hours, I not only need to have my dinner, but need to either finish, which seems unlikely with 2 floors and a roof still to do, or pack away so that we have room to do the podcast, do the streaming here. Because as you can see, I have completely covered our streaming table in quite a lot of loose Lego. The tubs didn't last very long. Let's crack on. And inexplicably, we've dropped down to 1080p for this time. I have absolutely no idea why. It's just one of many technical issues that we're having in the early days in this new Lego room. If you watch the stream from last night, you will know this was certainly not the end of technical issues for the day either. And look at the state of that base. I mean, eventually it's turned into a logical base to build the second floor on, or the first floor if you're in Britain, I guess. But again, the instructions from Bricklink Studio, absolute nonsense. I'm pretty impressed with myself that I managed to get that into the right shape eventually. But there you can see me again rummaging through all the parts. In fact, I've got 2 of those big boxes of the creative bricks and various other bits, and they just at this point emptied all over the floor, and I am quite regularly raiding them for parts to try and add into this. But you can see we've got the walls in on like 1.5 sides. We've got a bunch of the flooring in as well, and now we're just making that flooring meet in the middle. We've got our little guardrail around the staircase. Well, that staircase, by the way, does just float, and it's not the best piece of design I've ever come across. Certainly not something you'd get away with in an official Lego modular, because it doesn't attach to anything on the next floor up either, and is a little bit flimsy. So I mentioned at the start we'd need to do some modifications as time goes on, and certainly that staircase is an area that's going to need some modification. Also, the guardrail around the stairs area, I didn't have all of the correct pieces to be able to completely cover off the top of that with tile. You saw me disappear from the room for a second there. That was the first of several trips going down to Anna's box of tiny Lego pieces to steal some 1x1s to just basically fill little gaps that I hadn't done properly on Bricklink Designer, just basically to add little bits of stability. That happens quite a lot because it's not the most stable build until I ram extra bits of Lego in to try and basically pack it in and stop it crumbling under my hands. Oh, this is definitely a much bigger project than I anticipated, and I've had to empty multiple boxes of Lego out over the floor because our parts inventory is in the Lego City. I've had to raid Anna's box of 1x1s downstairs, but I have managed to put together the second floor, which has the bit I'm most happy with, which is, of course, the Block Party sign. It is Block Party HQ after all, so it needs a Block Party sign. We also have the Lego bricks in the Lego colours as windows on that side, and it's fully, like, it's got a floor inside. It doesn't have any furniture. What I have noticed is I didn't order enough of the gold tiles to go on top of the banister, so I might swap that colour out because I need a third one of those. I think I actually ordered 1x6s, 2 1x6s, because that's what's in the design, and I've been sent 2 1x4s, but I'm not going to get too bogged down in that kind of detail. It looks a little bit iffy from inside, where I've had to swap out some of the colours on the back of the red pattern that we've got on there. But what I've tried to do throughout the design is maintain like the core Lego colours, the red, the yellow, the blue, the green, and I think it is looking very, very cool and very, very colourful. And if we pop that on top of the ground floor, which I haven't actually tried to do yet, I know it fits because when I did the base I just made sure it fitted, but I haven't actually tried popping it on. But there we have it on top, and I haven't actually seen this from the front yet. But there we have the first 2 floors. I'm going to look at it for the first time. Oh my word. I tell you what, that is so cool. I'm so happy with it. Yeah, it's a little bit patched together on the outside. It's probably going to be one of those things that's going to be in the city forever and it's never going to be completely finished. I've got a little bit of separation on the walls there. Oh, there we go. I just needed to pop down. It's probably never going to be completely finished. I'll forever be swapping things out, changing interiors, adding to structural integrity here and there. Because again, we've got a wall here that's not really fully connected. So even if we put a couple of corner pieces in on the top there, I don't have them in the right colour to be able to do it. But we probably just need to connect that corner together a little bit better. So there's going to be tweaks that need to be done as time goes on. But I emphasise, this is my first ever custom building that I've designed, even if it was heavily influenced by the one that I started with. I did completely rebuild it in studio from scratch, so I am so chuffed with how this is looking. We've still got one more floor to put on and a roof, but I'm looking at the time, it's already 3:30, and like I said before, we are streaming today, so I'm not going to have time today to do the final floor. Something is rolling around. I think the little blue disc has fallen out of the toilet bowl. It's the only thing that could possibly be moving. But oh my word, I am so happy with it. Time skip to me doing the third floor, I guess. Well, much later in the day, it is nearly 11 o'clock at night, just on 10:30. We've done our stream, so I am setting myself back up again, and we are going to get this thing finished, or at least the top floor finished, is my plan. Fingers crossed. Here we go again. I'm desperate to get this done now. I'm so happy with how it's going so far. I just want to get it finished. And as I mentioned before, I am not a nighttime person. I have absolutely no idea what I was thinking starting this at 11 o'clock at night. And I think it certainly slowed down the process, especially because, as you can see, it starts in such an absurdly illogical manner because of how the instructions work. There's no putting the base plate in and building on that. I'm basically building one of the side walls, and then I eventually start adding base plate to it, which is absolute insanity. But eventually, after a couple of trips downstairs for stuff off of Anna, a couple of rummages through my own supply of stuff, and a lot of putting stuff down, ripping it back up again, trying again, we eventually get something that starts to look a bit more like the base of a building, or the base of a floor of a building. And now we're getting some flooring in, getting those diagonal windows in. And again, it's all still being done fairly illogically, because even now I'm still, that red strip goes all the way along, but there's nothing under it at the moment. So I'm kind of ripping it up and adding that yellow bit under the red bit as I go. The diagonal windows are an absolute nightmare until you get them blocked in at the top as well, because they just want to fall over constantly. But it slowly but surely starts to take shape. Great positioning of that tub right in front of the camera, Kev. You can tell it's getting late at night. There I am rummaging for more bricks, but look at it. It's taking shape. We are getting there. And it finally, I think at this point, starts to actually become structurally sound and isn't falling apart in my hands as I'm moving it around. And I clearly just needed one last little piece from Anna downstairs, and we are there. Well, it is 22 minutes past midnight. I had to make multiple trips downstairs to rob pieces off of Anna. Luckily, I had this box of creative 1,000 bricks that I was able to grab some black and some white bricks out of, because there has been so much botching stuff together on this one. The instructions are closing in on worthless at this point. I need to learn how to use Bricklink Studio properly, but what we have got is our third floor complete, continuing our awesome Lego basic colour theme. We've got a little bar at the back there as well. This is definitely going to be our little social area in the Block Party HQ. I haven't tried to see if it fits on the main building yet, and based on how botched together it is, if ever a bit wasn't going to fit, it would be this bit. So if we try this for the first time, I might be about to get very upset. Oh, but it fits. Does it fit? It kind of fits. I think it fits. Oh, there you go. It just wasn't popping on properly, but oh, I tell you what, the way the lights pass through that bit at the front is awesome. Look at that. We still need to get the roof on. I think I'm going to do the roof in the morning, but if we've got our little staircase coming up, we have. What I haven't got is a way to connect. Yeah, the staircase has just fallen off because it doesn't actually connect properly to this top bit. So it kind of is just dangling there without actually connecting. So that's not ideal. There's obviously a few little bits like that that aren't quite Lego official modular quality. But, you know, we're learning. This is my first time. And it doesn't line up easily. But you know what? It's there or thereabouts. That is not a bad effort for a first ever modular building. It's looking very, very cool. I love the way the light comes through on some of those coloured transparent bricks and coloured transparent windows that we're using as well. So very happy with that. It's quite low compared to some of the other modular buildings. I don't have any here, but I think it's going to be considerably lower. Even though it's 3 stories, it's going to be considerably lower than some of the other modular buildings in the city. And in fact, there's going to be areas where, certainly on this top floor, my head's going to be skimming on the ceiling. I'm not going to be able to have any minifigs in here with a hat on. So, like I said before, there's likely to be a lot of modifications to this over the coming weeks, months and years. Who knows what Block Party HQ is going to look like a year or 2 down the line. But for now, it is looking fantastic. Tomorrow morning, I'll use these remaining parts to get a roof on. And then I'll give you a proper tour. See, that's not quite lining up properly either there. So there's a few bits that aren't quite fitting together the way I feel like they should. So there's going to, we've got the bit from below has come out there as well. So there's definitely, there's tweaks to be made, but I think we can certainly get this into a position where we can get it into the city and it will look good. It just won't necessarily travel very well, be able to be moved around very often, or be particularly modular, because quite a lot of it seems to come apart whenever I try and move anything. But they all sound like problems for future Kev. For now, I'm very happy with how it's looking, and I'll see you in the morning. So here we go then, day 3 of this build, and of course the big question is, am I going to have enough pieces? I mean, it's just a simple roof. At its core, it is just slapping these 2 pieces and joining them together somehow. So fingers crossed, amongst I've got a lot of 1x plate, a lot of 2x plate, quite a few bricks that I've not used. And I don't think there's any bricks involved in the roof. There's definitely been some mistakes made in the design and the build, but let's crack on, get a roof on, and then have a look at the finished thing. And as I sit here editing this video, I realised just how quick this task was, and I probably could have got this finished last night and had much less stress getting the video together this morning, but it all came together relatively easily, just a few extra parts. And there we go, we have a roof. It is a little bit patchwork underneath. I don't know how, when I got the part list directly out of Bricklink Studio and then followed the instructions directly out of Bricklink Studio, I ran out of quite so many pieces and had to go and raid Anna's stocks from downstairs, because obviously all of our normal parts inventory is at the Lego City, so I've not got access to that while I'm here. Luckily, Anna has lots of smaller pieces downstairs, so I was able to nick enough to get it together and make it work. But in addition to that, I've got so many pieces left over as well. So I've raided Anna massively, but then also I've not only raided Anna, also raided those couple of boxes of creator stuff. And then I've got all of this left over. So yeah, that's an empty one. These are just the bags that came out of the creator thing. So these were very handy. I can certainly recommend having some of these boxes lying around if you don't have a parts inventory. But some of these bits, it's like, well, how? They must have been important for something. I'm sure we'll figure it out eventually, but this is the finished thing. And I am so happy with it. It looks better than I possibly could have hoped for, I think, for a first ever attempt at a custom modular building. Obviously, as I said at the start, I took a lot of inspiration from the original Bricklink design. The actual shape and structure of the building is largely based on that, and I've basically, my customization has been mainly ripping out interior, which has led to a few structural changes here and there, because some of the stuff that was in the original interior, like a bowling alley, was kind of structurally built into the walls as well. So I have had to change some of the structural bits, which is probably where some of the mistakes have come from. But the job was mainly a colour swap. Obviously sorting out the Block Party sign as well, which I'm really happy with. The original design actually had, you had to use stickers for this bit, but I found the keys from the typewriter set, which I think work there perfectly. Got my own block design in as well. This on the original design was a boba store and was all set up for like boba tea, but we decided to swap it out for a Lego sign, and it's just an empty room at the moment, but I think we're going to put some of the Lego boxes that came with the big truck that came out last year. We've got loads of those little Lego boxes, so we can have that as like a little Lego storage room. And I think my plans at the moment, and this is all subject to ratification by the Patreon, but I think what we're going to be doing, if we pop the top off, up here, I think is going to be like a social area. We've left the original bar in. There was originally a pool table in here on the design, but we've taken the pool table out and left the bar in. So I think up here we're going to have a little social meeting area, which is where eventually, see, bits just fall off. This is where we might have some of the sig figs from some of our Patreons who earn them. We'll perhaps hang out up here in the bar with our sig figs. So I think that's the plan for up there. You can see we've got a missing piece of that tan tile, which again, I don't know how that's happened. We'll probably just put, I mean, some of the tile is going to come out for studs as we start to add minifigs and furniture and stuff anyway, so that'll be fine. This floor, I think, is going to be Anna's gaming area. So in the original design, this floor was an arcade. We have got some arcade machines we can pop in, but I think I'm also going to put a little corner with a TV and a sofa and games consoles and stuff, and have this as Anna's little gaming hangout area. And then down on this bottom floor, I think we're going to put a little mini version of the Lego City. So we're able to see it from all of these sides, and just have a little Lego City in there, and then the Lego storage like backlog area at the front. But of course, if you've got ideas for better uses of those floors, let me know down in the comments section. Once we've sorted the interior, we'll do a full video showing you that. And of course, once I add it to the city as well, you'll see it get added in to the city. But it is all nicely modular, all fits together beautifully, and I'm so very happy with it. Don't be afraid to try and do your own custom stuff, folks. I imagine start to finish, time-wise, probably 15 to 20 hours designing on Bricklink Studio, another 2 or 3 hours finding all the parts, sourcing them, then had to wait a month or so for the parts to arrive. It was 7 different parts orders, including postage and packing, cost around about £250 plus an extra for the meals plate as well. So I imagine total cost is somewhere around £260, £270, plus I think it was £10 to buy the original design off of Rebrickable as well. So just shy of £300. And then assembly wise, it's probably taken me 10 hours, 12 hours maybe, to put together from start to finish. And that is with really awful auto-generated Bricklink Designer Studio instructions, some guesswork, some botching around, some searching for pieces that I didn't have. But I have learned an awful lot going through this process. And one thing I know for sure, this building will get better in time because I'll modify it as time goes on. And the next time I do a custom building, it's going to be better than this one. And I've got the bug now. I think there's going to be lots of custom stuff going into our Lego City. But hopefully you've enjoyed this process coming along with me, putting together our first ever custom building. If you have, please make sure you leave a nice big thumbs up on there for us. Feel free to use the comments section to suggest what building you'd like to see me have a go at making for the city next. Subscribe to the channel if you're new, and thank you very much for watching.